All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll have more guest speakers for a few minutes. I don't know what thinking is. But by the time we start to dissect thinking, we now have another angle to what thinking actually means and what critical thinking also means. We're talking about types of thinking. What is critical thinking? Critical thinking standards, mastering critical thinking, benefits of critical thinking, barriers of critical thinking, characteristics of a critical thinker, and finally, I'll have my conclusion. So let's start. I like to always start my slides with a quote. And I'm asking you agree with me that you will never become great until your own thoughts make you great. And therefore, it is of the first importance that you should think. So anybody who does not think has ceased to exist. So which we all agree that we are all thinking, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I have another one here. The function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of a true education. This is according to Martin Luther King Jr. Education is not the learning of facts, but the training of the mind to think. And this is according to Albert Einstein. And finally, which I love, 5% of the people think, 10% of the people think they think, and the other 85% will rather die than think. So which means we have people who do not even want to think. What is thinking? Thinking is about asking questions. As you start to ask questions, you have actually started thinking. Thinking is a purposeful and organized process that we use to make sense of the world. Now, what are the questions? Who, what, where, when, why, how? So if anybody comes to you and says something, you should ask questions. Why is it like that? What makes it like that? When was it like that? So once you start asking questions, you have started thinking. But there are types of thinking. You can think, you can decide to go for that by thinking critically. Then you can now go to the most advanced, which is thinking creatively. So we have types of thinking. When you think critically, you analyze, you evaluate, you reason. By the time you graduate, by the time you start thinking critically, then you can now migrate to start to think creatively. And that's why most of the inventors we have in this world have advanced from thinking critically to becoming thinking creatively. You cannot innovate anything if you do not leave this level and migrate to this level. Now let's think. I have a quiz, and this is where we make it a bit interactive. This is not done by me, it is done by Anderson Consulting Worldwide. And I have a few questions I want to ask. And my first question, how do you put a giraffe into a refrigerator? Anybody? Let's think. Anybody?
Giraffe.
Yes. Into a refrigerator, yeah?
The life giraffe.
You can see that people have started thinking.
Why do you want to put giraffe in the refrigerator?
That is still thinking.
That's still thinking too.
You have started thinking. Well, let me tell you, since nobody is talking, I'll tell you the answer. To put a giraffe in the refrigerator, all you need to do is to open the refrigerator, put the giraffe in the refrigerator, and close the door. That's all. They are thinking. So simple. And that is, that's why some of us overdo, we overthink. We have started overthinking. You can let me answer.
I was thinking that you could just write a giraffe on paper.
Which is very simple too. It is still thinking. It is still thinking. It is still valid. It is so simple. And the point for this question is to see that a lot of us do things that are supposed to be done in a simple way in a more difficult way. I remember I had somebody to help me fix a TV, and I was telling him this is what I don't say common sense because common sense is not common. So it's just something that you could just think logically. And I was telling him you are doing this thing wrongly. And he told me, I have a BSc in the left. And I asked him, do you need a BSc to fix a TV? You don't need that BSc for that job. Anybody can just do that. My second question. How do you put an elephant in the refrigerator?
Same way.
Anybody? Now I am testing our memory. There is a giraffe there. So you have to open the refrigerator, remove the giraffe, then put the elephant in, and close the refrigerator.
Sir, but the word same should have been put in that line. How do you put an elephant in the same?
Still overthinking. Which is allowed. Still overthinking. Okay, let's say the third one. The Lion King is hosting an animal conference. All the animals attended except one. Which animal does not attend?
Me. I'm the only animal.
Then, if we are paying attention to this, we'll discover that the elephant is in the refrigerator.
Oh my God.
The job has been removed.
That's the profession.
Well, as a continuation of the
Yeah.
context. Yeah.
Okay, the last one. Like I told you, it's not mine. There's a river you must cross, but it is used by crocodiles, and you do not have a boat. How do you manage this?
Is this a continuation of the other question?
Oh, we're still thinking. It's a rider.
Crocodile is
There's a river you
The crocodiles are at the conference.
I just think we have started thinking critically. Now, what are the lessons? Lesson number one. For question number one, this is to test whether you do simple things in an overly complicated ways. Question number two, this is to test your ability to think through the events of the previous action. Test number three is to test your memory. And the last one is to test whether you learn quickly from your mistake. And I think we deserve a round of applause because we learn quickly from our mistake. We recollect that the crocodile is in the meeting and will not be in the river. So what is critical thinking? You can see this man. He is actually thinking. He remembered which side of the bench he sit on, but he forgot about the other. So sometimes we can be thinking and not thinking critically. You can also see this man. He knows that he needs scissors, but he's not aware of his location. Still not thinking critically. So what is critical thinking? It has to do with information. Arranging information in a logical, balanced, and reflective way to reach a conclusion, justified by praising argument based on the text. Critical thinking is a general term given to a wide range of cognitive and intellectual skills needed to, number one, effectively identify and analyze and evaluate arguments. I was moving with somebody one day and was telling me the price of a car. She just said it, my driver actually. Just okay, this car was so. Critical thinking, most of us will just take the information, we conceive it, we start spreading it out. But the next question I asked him, why thinking critically, did you price this car recently? He said no. Do you intend to buy one now? He said no. Did you check online to confirm the price? He said no. Then how did you know the price? I just feel that should be the price they said it. That is how people mislead you. Just collect the information, we fail to ask questions, and we start asking information. Because of my time, I want to move faster, but I can make this happen. People sometimes do correct. Then he went and said, they say more than 70% of the household in the UK have internet access. That seems more likely. I wonder why the book is saying the wrong thing. I said, wait a minute. When was the book written? The book has been written since 2005. This is the information there is obsolete. So we do not follow everything we see online. sometimes we need to double check, confirm, to see if those information are still valid. Now, core thinking skills you need to remember first. You cannot think without remembering. You need to understand, you need to apply. But at this level, you now need to migrate to critical thinking. And when you want to think critically, you will require to start analyzing things, to start evaluating things, then from that level you can start creating. And once you start creating, you become a creative thinker. And most of the CEOs we have here and other people who are doing, all of us are doing very well in our various units and work. We are doing all this because we are creative thinkers. We have moved from the level of critical thinking to being a creative thinker. Now let's look at the standard for critical thinking and what I'm writing up. For critical thinking, there must be clarity. In your thinking, there must be accuracy, precision, relevance, depth, breadth, logic, and most importantly, fairness. There must be fairness. In fact, people say, what is equity? What is equality? They are different words. Equity is treating the equal equally and the unequal unequally. Treating the equal equally and the unequal unequally. That is equity. But equality is making everybody the same. For you to have fairness, you need equity. Equity brings about fairness. Because if you check all of us in this room now, our intellectual quotient differs from one person to another. And you set the same question for us, and you say it is fair. It is not fair because by nature, some of us have been disadvantaged naturally. So what we should do first is to test the intelligence quotient of everybody, then put us in our various classes, then set questions for us in as we have the capacity to answer them. So I will move fast. First is avoiding ambiguity. You avoid ambiguity. You let people know where you are going. Be concise. Be specific. I am going. Where? One has to be specific. Where are you actually going? That's what we mean by clarity. In anything you do, there must be clarity. I'm sorry I won't be able to go through the, I would have loved to because of our time. So I'm going to rush through that. Accuracy. Sometimes we look at it, the dog weighs more than 300 pounds. How did this guy know? You need a weighing scale. The dog has not been weighed. So what this person is saying at this point in time is not accurate. And I said, really? I don't believe you. Then there must be precision, concise, straight to the point, in your thinking, in your discussion. Statements can both be clear and accurate, but not precise. Then the relevance. I have given good effort in studying all semester, so I got a A+. The effort does not measure quality of your learning here. Sometimes you can make efforts and no results. I tell people, it is not about working hard. It is about working smart. You have to work smart. Sometimes you can work hard and it won't bring any results. So we have to always learn to work what? Smart. So thank you very much. Then depth. Just say no to drugs. Nobody's telling us why. So why is nobody telling us the reason why we should say no to drugs? So when you tell your children don't have sex, premarital sex, you must tell them why. You must educate them to let them seriously. There must be self-reliance and self-determination that they will want to abstain from sex until when they are mature. Breadth, logic, fairness. So what are the benefits of critical thinking? At work, it allows us to learn quickly and solve problems. It allows us to show creativity, to gather and analyze issues meaningfully. And this has become vital skills for all professionals. In our daily life, it helps us to avoid making foolish decisions. It helps us to become a good citizen capable of making good decisions on important social political and economic issues. It helps us in developing good thinking skills, capable of understanding our own assumptions and judgment. You might ask, if the critical thinking is so important, then why is uncritical thinking so common? Now, these are the reasons why uncritical thinking are so common. Egocentrism. People are self-centered. We believe thinking is about us. You are bothered about yourself and not thinking about other people. Social centricism, a group interest thinking, because it will favor our group. We are not concerned about what happens with another group. Unwarranted assumptions. They believe that something is true without proper evidence or justification. There are sometimes wishful thinking, believing something is true because one wishes it to be true. Because we want it to be true, so we believe it is true. The last one is relativism. Now, I'll jump this because of the time, but I'll conclude now. My conclusion: you are a product of your thoughts. Whatever you think, you can achieve. And finally, go out there in 2025, think smart, most especially, please, think critically and think creatively. Thank you very much.